Hey, 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 what's good, fam? It's Tuesdays with Tawana. Yes, I am in the building on today. Always excited to be a part of community, to build community one episode at a time. Yes, I am Dr. Tad, Rev T, Tawana, and I am your host and your curator for Tuesdays with Tawana. I had a little bit of technical difficulties this morning, or now this afternoon, and some of you this morning. So I'm glad to be here and to share in community on my first episode in this Women's Herstory Month, building on and continuing from our Black AF episode 365, because it's important to note that during Women's Herstory Month, I saw a meme where there were white women who were on, and I think I mentioned it last week, who were on the track starting line, and they were just waiting for Women's History Month to show up, because it was just blackety black, black, black for everything and everyone in the month of February. So we're not going to change the game because the month has changed. Come on now. We're going to, keep it going and keep it blackety black, black during Women's Herstory Month. And I struggled with this episode. I struggled with this episode because March is a tough month for me. In a celebratory mode, of course, it's my birthday week. My birthday is Thursday. Yeah, that's how we doing this, and it's gonna turn into my birthday month because I'll be traveling for the most part all month, uh, taking some time off, some just working in a different place. I'll be headed to New York, DC, Dubai, and I am so excited that I am able to make this happen. So excited. Um, so month is a challenging month. So one, a celebration is it's my birthday, and I never really took birthdays for granted, but now I celebrate them much differently, because tomorrow is definitely not promised to us, and fighting for my life every day. Uh, yeah, Lucille Clifton, won't you celebrate me? Because every day, something has tried to kill me and has failed. And, it's not happening. As I posted yesterday, my scans are good. I'm still in relationship with Ned. For those that don't know, that's no evidence of disease. And they call it no evidence of disease because I'm metastatic. So I won't be, in medical terms, cancer free, if you will, but there is no evidence of cancer in my body. So I am definitely grateful for that. Thank you. I'm trying to pull up the comments, and for some reason, my comments aren't actually coming up. So I'm going to read them because it's still important for me to insert your voice into this narrative. It's not just me talking for the next 25 minutes. Hey, brother, good to see you as always. What's up, Tamika? In the building watching with me today. I'm very grateful. Chandel, thank you for the birthday shout out. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So thank you for that. So yeah, so that's one of the exciting things that that happened in the month of March. But today in particular is a tough day because this is the day that my dad had a massive stroke, and he survived for a few days and ended up dying on March 11th. So, in between this somber moment, I just remember the joy of, you know, remembering this day when my ITC beloveds, my HBCU, that's when I claim HBCU because ITC is predominantly a Black institution right in the AU Center. And so when I was in seminary, on the 7th, Mother Carolyn and I were coming from getting pedicures, and I got a call from my brother from another mother, from Mitch, and he said, "Tawana, you need to get home right away." And he said, "I was anyway." So my point is my community got me in New York, got me to New York like within the next 4 hours. Like I was in New York. So that those moments are bittersweet. They're joyful and they're sad at the same time because I'm a dad girl, and the month of March again continues with my sister's birthday, who passed away last year, April 29th. Her birthday is March 24th. My mother passed away on March 28th, and this will be the 30th year that she has been gone from this life. So it's a lot of shit going on. A lot. A lot. Hey, good afternoon, Alexandria. Thank you, Cordio. Yes, yes, yes. I take early birthday celebrations. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Um, so it's a rough month. And then on top of that, having to deal with life as it is right now. Like the other day I was driving by this I drove by a mechanic shop, right? A car repair shop. And it said blah 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 car repair, Asian and European. And I was like, okay, I guess like we do black owned, and I get we do black owned, so I guess they felt the need to say Asian and European, and that something welled up in me. I don't know if it was anger or frustration, but y'all get to choose how y'all show up in this world, and you get to choose which way and which direction you are going to go in. You get to choose those things. Asian folk get to choose whether you want to be on the side of people of color or you want to be on the side of whiteness. Europeans are just white, and their history is not all that great, especially when it comes to women. Women were relegated to staying at home and having babies. Because if you went to work, it was illegal for you to keep your job if you were pregnant. Women couldn't vote. Women are still paid less, but were definitely not in prominent positions and paid much less than. And this is white women. I mean, it impacted black women as well, but we were impacted even further through racism, racial injustice, sexism, classism, and all the other isms that go along with that. We have had queer folk in our world since the inception of time. So now here we talk about Women's Herstory Month, and we must include those who have been through the struggle and identify with the struggle of being who they were created to be. I'm cis hetero, and I try my very best to use a language that is inclusive. I can only speak from my experience, but I can also speak with those who I experience life with and journey with them, so that whatever I am speaking or preaching or presenting, it does not exclude, demean, or dehumanize other groups who identify as gender expansive. Thank you, Soul to Soul Sisters. Or Black women, femmes, and thems. Thank you, Soul to Soul Sisters. Because I am a cis hetero woman. So even with that and embracing that, I still embrace my community, and my community is those that go beyond the binary, right? Because we have enough going on in this world where white people are taking away our history, white people are taking away books, they want to bring back Jim Crow in Mississippi. Pay attention, y'all. And how do we come together as community to make this change? How do we come back together in community to begin to shift things and to turn things around? And a part of me is like, you know what, Black beloveds, Black folk of the diaspora, we got to come together and make this happen. And a part of me is like, white people, I need you to tell your cousins to get it together. And I need y'all to stand up and fight for us, because this is your problem to fix. And then at the same time, I can't sit back, because then the problem won't be fixed, because they don't know how to fix the problem. And it's not my job to teach them. So when we do Facing Racism, I'm not teaching you how to be an anti-racist and how to end anti-Black racism. What I am going to do is give you the tools and the language so that you have no excuse to say, well, I didn't know what to say, I didn't know how to say it, I didn't know how to fight back and protect women, to protect Black women. Because who's protecting Black women? What are we doing in this Woman Herstory Month right now? How are we making it happen where we are inserting our humanity and our narrative and our voices and our divine prowess into this space where we are centered? Because here on the shirt it says, we change Black women's lives, we change the world. Thank you, Survive and Thrive app. Thank you, Carrie's Touch. This is a part of their swag that I talked about last week, because I wore their We Thrive shirt. So how do we then make this change? What can the people in Mississippi do that where voter suppression is happening, continued dehumanization and demeaning and degrading of folk, and telling folk that your vote don't matter, and the list goes on and on. What can the people in Mississippi do to stop this? Because it is about to be a bill, a law that is passed. I digressed. So we talking about Women's History Month. Yes, Tony, I saw it. Thank you for placing your order for the shirt. I'm glad you made it. Alexandria, thank you for the happy Earth Strong wishes. I appreciate it. Jan in the building, thank you. I'm receiving the birthday love. I receive it. I receive it. I receive it. Thank you so much. So with that, so I look at Women's Herstory Month, and I think about, Sojourner Truth, Ain't I a Woman? And I think about Harriet Tubman, but I also think about those that are here making history and inserting our story into the narrative, like Alice Walker and the late Bell Hooks through her literary prowess as a black feminist, like Patricia Hill Collins, another black feminist who is inserting her black voice, beautiful black voice, into this narrative that is often centering white people and decentering black indigenous people of color. So for Women's Herstory Month, we are called, and we call it Herstory because today is a charge to tell your story. To tell your story. And if I can add onto Womanist Herstory Month, inserting a stance and a prowess and a wisdom about womanism that centers black women and black experiences, not as another elitist thought or ideology, but it's actually who we are, lifting as we climb, not degrading and demeaning others just because we are centering ourselves. So during this Women Herstory Month, when we tell our stories, when we tell the great and the not so great, the good and the bad, the 41% mortality rate of black women as it compares to white women, those who are diagnosed with breast cancer, when we talk about domestic violence and how we are disproportionately affected by it, when we talk about redlining and impoverished communities and the houseless and all of that, when we focus on black women and the black experience, things change, which is why they are trying to erase us out of the history books. They are looking to erase us out of the schools with curriculum. They are erasing, they're not trying, they're doing it. They are doing it. Tucker Carlson is not even a journalist, and people are following him and listening to him about January 6th not being an insurrection but a peaceful protest. Get the FOH. And people are believing this. So when we come into community together and we begin to saturate the narrative and saturate this space that goes against societal ills and norms, then we are able to use our power and our prowess to shift the narrative. Jason, good to see you. Thank you for the birthday wishes and much love to you, my brother, who is doing big things in Denver Metro. I truly appreciate you. I watch you and I'm so inspired by you. Thank you so much. And I hope to catch up with you while I'm in Denver one of these times, because I travel back and forth as I have the honor of being the executive director of Soul to Soul Sisters. Elaine Gale, my beautiful professor, thank you so much for the birthday love. She says, you are extraordinary. You raise the bar everywhere in the world. Your light illuminates us all. Bless you, beloved. Oh, Reverend Christina Reed is in the building. Yes, Blessed Earth Strong says, thank you so much. And Pisces, Elaine, thank you. Pisces season, one of the best signs there is. Yes, I am biased. Yes, some of y'all, might be a little upset, especially the Aries, Larry, that have to follow behind us. It's Pisces season, so I am just feeling all of this Pisces energy right now, enjoying it to the fullest. So Women's Herstory Month. So inserting this prowess where we are centering ourselves and continuing to talk about history, because if we don't know where we have been, we won't know where we are going. When we look at the womanists that are in our space right now, and I'll just name a few that come to the top of my head, who is in my age group or younger, like Reverend Dr. Melva Sampson, who does Pink Robe Chronicles every Sunday on Facebook Live and is featured in the Smithsonian for African Americans. For Natasha Robinson Esquire, my beloved, she's an amazing, unapologetic womanist who is raising a womanish child, and so is Dr. Melva Sampson, raising womanish girls. Natasha Robinson Esquire is featured on Court TV. You have Reverend Dr. Irie Lee Sessions, who started a womanist church, a womanist gathering. Come on, beloveds. We have what it takes to go into these communities and to speak truth and to speak our power into areas that try to disempower us, to silence us, to keep us on the margins. But they don't know. Toni Morrison said it best. When we stand on the margins and they disappear, that was Father Boyle. But she said when we stand on the margins, she has people come to us. Come to the margins, because then the margins will disappear. The margins will go away, and the most powerful will be that of those who are historically marginalized and historically oppressed. I'd hate to name that now, because I don't want to claim that I'm marginalized or oppressed, because I'm more than that. I am powerful. I am beautiful. I am brilliant. I am divine. I am a co-creator. I'm a community builder. I'm a preacher and a thought-provoker and all of those things. And I refuse to let you, as a white person and white thought, because you don't have to be white skinned to have white thought and have these racist tendencies. But I am here to dispel all of those misnomers and those thoughts, and to let you know who I be and how I show up in the world. Even as a cis hetero woman, I can still love and embrace those who are gender expansive. I can still love and embrace my Black men. I can still love and embrace my indigenous people of color. And right now, we are the ones that are mostly impacted by many of the social ills. This is not about oppression Olympics. This is about facts. This is about how we are being killed disproportionately by law enforcement, how we are incarcerated disproportionately, how we are dying to diagnosis where we don't have to die. We are being prescribed Tylenol when it's over the counter, when we are in pain or we are dealing with an illness, because they're assuming that Black folk are drug users and drug dealers and so on and so. Women's Herstory Month. Oh, talk about call the roll. Dr. Jamie is on the line. Be very clear. She does amazing grief work. And she lives out loud, and she is brilliant. And I watch her and experience her, and am blessed to be in her presence every Sunday morning on Pink Robe Chronicles, where she talks about grief. And we talked about grief on these episodes, where grief is a form of love, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt. It doesn't mean that it's not a process and a journey that we have to go through. We can't just, skip over it, because then the grief will still be there, and that's where it compounds, and then you suppress it, but it's going to come up in another way, shape, or form. Reverend Christina Reed said, speak. We got to deal with all of that. So in the midst, let's find some celebration. My charge to you for today is to find some celebration in Women's Herstory Month. I would love to hear my Black brothers, beloveds, to talk about Black women in their lives, and how Black women have exemplified what it is to fight, and what it is to lead, and what it is to be both and what it is to be nurturer and provider and leader and fragile, and the list goes on and on and on. And vulnerable, and thoughtful, and angry. And angry. Let me say that again for the people in back. And angry. I will not apologize for being Black and not being angry, so that you can put me into some trope about an angry Black woman, or put me in this trope of being a strong Black woman. Strength for me comes from my weakness. Strength for me allows me to be agile and mobile and to be weak, if you will, in moving in the spaces and places where I need to go in order to make things happen according to the divine and what the divine is calling me to do. So if I think myself more highly than I am and think about myself as a strong black woman trope that white people try to put on us, and sometimes it's not just white people, as I said before, it's white thought, it's white it's white ideologies. It pins me into this box that says that I am not supposed to hurt. I am not supposed to be emotional. God gave me all these feels in this beautiful body to feel them so I can learn the lesson. Hey, Marcia. Fannie Lou's tired anger fueled her strength. You better say that, preacher. Say that. We should be angry at what is going on in the world. I just heard this morning that I forgot where in the Middle East, darn it, but that young children were poisoned, like a chemical attack, with young girls, because of the dehumanization and the sexism that's going on. They were, I don't know if all of them were killed or if they were just gravely injured or what the outcome was, but this is what we're dealing with in the world. We're dealing with people degrading and dehumanizing sex workers. We're dealing with people degrading and demeaning black women who are out here, working two jobs and trying to make a life and a livable wage for their families. We're degrading and dehumanizing the choices that we make. But until you walk in my shoes, shut the up. Until you know my journey. You don't know what goes on behind the scenes of Tuesdays with Tawana. Okay, hold on. Let me pause right there. Marcia said they're poisoning the girls' schools through the air vents. Let's hold space for a moment because I'm a little emotional and we need to wind down. So, beloveds, the charge as we work through this month, and we're Black AF 365, let us not forget those that have gone before us, our ancestors. Call out to our ancestors. They are speaking and they want us to listen. And they want us to listen deeply. They want us to listen not only cognitively, but through our hearts and through our wombs and our bellies. Baba Daniel Black said, we are all creators. You don't have to have a baby to be a creator. Like, you don't have to be, you create when you wake up and you create beauty, or you create a song, or you create art, or you create language. Went to a workshop talking about language justice, right? We are creators. We it's not all about sex. It's not all about, when I had a bilateral mastectomy and I wear prosthetics when I feel like it. When I had my bilateral mastectomy, many people's answers, and I love y'all, and sometimes people just don't know what to say, but my people would say that, well, your breasts were used for what they were supposed to be used for, and that is for nurturing and for breastfeeding. Shit, I didn't even breastfeed my children. I was young, and I mean, breastfeeding is good. Bottle feeding is formula feed. Whatever you do it. No judgment. I'm just talking about me. And I did not breastfeed because I was young, and I knew that breastfeeding was a lot of responsibility that I did not want any parts of. And I need to know that. So now when my daughter is breastfeeding, I can learn from my past decisions and share with her and encourage her to keep going because this is important to her. This is, something that she decided to do from the onset, but unfortunately, as a Black woman, of course, no one said, well, you got to go back to work in 6 weeks. And so she had to do a lot of her own research. So you not only have to go back to work in 6 weeks, but how do you go back to work and you're breastfeeding your child, and you have to pump, because if you don't pump, your breasts begin to hurt. And then if you don't pump enough, because not everybody just throws on a pump and then a plethora of milk comes out. Doesn't happen that way. So there's so much going on. Marcia said, how dare they burn their hijabs? Women's Herstory Month. This is what's happening. Our young girls are being killed, poisoned, hijabs being burned, beloveds being murdered in the streets. And here, they're bringing back Jim Crow, taking away voting rights. They already took away our rights to our body. It's my body and my decision. There are some Walgreens, I'm calling them out, that are refusing to give the abortion pill, the day after pill, whatever the correct way to say it, even though that state can legally dispense it. People are out of control. Out of control. And beloveds, we must come together to save ourselves and to know our story, to know her story, whether it's in the past, present, or Afrofuturism, seeing ourselves in the future. I can go on, but we got next week, Tuesday, before I embark on my travels. So I love y'all, and thank y'all for listening, and please be encouraged. Please love yourselves, because again, you can't give what you don't have. You can't pour from an empty cup. Sit in all the feels: grief, joy, sadness, anger, excitement, celebration, because that's what I'm going through this month. When this camera goes off, there are times when tears flow. Sometimes the tears flow here. I'm not holding anything back, because I do my best to be as authentic as I can, because this is a communal moment, and building trust and love and dialogue and sharing. I do want to end with this, though. Marcia, you preaching today. I'm going to have to bring you on. Jim and Jane Crow ain't never been gone, just lurking high up in the trees. I miss you, Marcia. I miss you so much. I want to end with this. As we are building community, and we're building community one episode at a time through Tuesdays with Tawana, I had someone say to me that I am too much. But the difference is, I had two people say that to me. The one person that said it to me said it from a very, awful place. The other person that said it to me out of love, because she took my too muchness and was able to learn, and it's reciprocal. So her too muchness, because she had to call me in several times, became a learning opportunity for me. So if we set aside the the bad part of our egos and open up our hearts and our minds and our souls to deeply listen to others, to be in dialogue, to be curious about somebody instead of judgmental, we can turn things around, especially during this time, Women's Herstory Month. Let us not forget how far we have come despite society ills trying to keep us back, trying to, you know, anyway, I already listed some things. So, the charge for you today is to be encouraged, to hear your own voice, to know your voice, and let it come from every fiber of your being, because you are powerful, you are anointed, you are a co creator, you are called here for such a time as this. And one of your callings is to tell your story, and to tell your story in a way that it lives beyond today. It lives from generation to generation. For all of my beloveds, whether you ascribe to the binary as men and women, if you are gender expansive, all of you have a story, a powerful story, a liberating story, a healing story that takes us on a journey toward being in community together. I love y'all. All of my too muchness. Yes, Pam. Hi, Pammy. Good to see you. Hey, Miss Odessa. Yes, I love y'all. I love y'all. We change Black women's lives, we change the world. So let's join together and make it happen. Because when we change our lives, we don't leave others behind, because that's just not what we do. Our culture doesn't do that. We're communal people. We know better. We do better. So let us not ascribe to the societal ills, the white thought, the white ideologies, and let us tap back into what we know. We knew Jesus before white people. We knew spiritual powers before white people. We knew of rituals before they called it witchcraft and whatever. We knew of all of that. Yes, we did. Read, read, read. Watch some documentaries. Talk with some like minded folk. That's your charge for today. So we can make Women's Herstory Month powerful, where we'll all be liberated. We'll all be liberated from this horrific society that tries to kill us every day and fails. I'm out. Peace.